We got us a corpse and cartridge occasion.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I'm going to do another breakdown of the most recent Harada's bar video. Before we dive into that, there is 3 things that I want to talk about. The first thing has to do with the whole guest characters, Tifa, Lockhart, all that stuff that's been going on Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube. So for those of you who don't know, I have a full video breaking it down, but basically in comment sections and responses on Twitter, everywhere, people were just flooding the forums with Tifa, and a lot of people were getting sick of it. I seen this on the Tekken subreddit and I just couldn't believe it, because this is another case of the Tekken community going overboard with something. First, everyone was going overboard with the Knee versus Arslan, Korea versus Pakistan, and now guest characters. This is a moderator of the subreddit. This has gotten out of hand. Not so much the wish list, but how boring they are. I'll create a mega thread tonight for everyone wishes, but I'm sick of seeing the same thing over and over. I'll be modifying the auto mod and temp banning the spam. On the Tekken subreddit, there is so many posts about Tifa and wishlist that the mods on there is going to start auto banning people for that. This is kind of crazy because this is the first time that I've seen the mods auto banning people for simply uploading a character or a wish list. This kind of shows how out of hand it's getting. The next thing that I want to talk about, is a cheeky tweet from Harada. Someone says, "Why is she dressed like this? And why is she in a meeting with her cousins while dressed like this?" Harada responds and says, "I don't understand the intent of the question, so I can't answer. And I don't have an answer because I'm not Asuka." This guy Harada is big brain. He's 1,000 steps ahead of us. He can't explain it because he's not Asuka. Cheeky Harada is being cheeky Harada. The next tweet that I want to talk about is from Humble Arslan Ash. This is about the Pakistani regional finals, which, if you guys don't know, Arslan Ash has been having a lot of issues with the finals. The first thing that he was talking about is how the finals as a whole operate. So each region, each country will have its own separate finals. All of the points that people are getting right now is so they can get access to those finals. And then in those finals, only 2 players will make it out. And Arslan Ash was saying, let's use Knee or Anakin or whatever top player. They can dominate all year, and then they can have one bad day in this regional and not make it to the World Tour finals. Now, the reason why I think they switched it to this new format is so you don't have 10 Koreans, 20 Pakistanis, 2 Americans. So you're gonna have 2 of every region: Africa, US, South America, UK, Germany, Korea, Japan, right? You're gonna have 2 people from every region, so everyone has someone to cheer for, right? But today, Arslan Ash is upset once again. The tweet says, "I heard that the Pakistani regional finals is online. This is unacceptable. The online here is extremely bad. Most of the time we cannot connect to our opponents because of the ISP, and if we can, it's laggy. It's very easy for us to do offline, so please let us do offline. B&E Esports." Bandai Namco Esports responds and says, "I will forward your request to our team. No promises, but your feedback will be heard. I understand your concerns. Thank you, Arslan." I'm 100% with Arslan Ash. The regional finals for all regions needs to be offline. Let's talk about the topic of this video. Harada's bar. He did a recent one, and this one is about EVO. The title on this video says, "That moment after the Tekken 8 teaser." And what this video is going to be about is when Harada and Michael Murray came out to the screen pointing at the camera. A lot of people was confused by this announcement. You had a lot of people thinking it was going to be a Tekken 1 remaster, Tekken 4 remaster, and a lot of people was like, it's going to be Tekken 8. Before we dissect this video, I want to play some clips from Avoiding the Puddle from Eris, just to give you guys an understanding of how the community was feeling after they did this Tekken 8 teaser.
Get owned by Harada's asshole, bitch. Alright, I'll give it up. For what?
Steve! No, Steve! Steve!
What am I getting ready for?
Harada!
What the hell's going on?
We're not gonna fight! This is ridiculous!
Damn, Harada's getting crazy. They're opening up a
Is
pit?
that right?
Was that like a teaser for Tekken 8 or something?
Harada just jumped us.
Did I do something wrong? What about like Harada and saying stuff? I'm pretty confused. Was that supposed to be like a Tekken 8 teaser? The smiling Kazuya? They're not gonna say anything? Harada and Michael Murray are gonna show up and just shake the shit out of Rip? They're not even gonna say nothing?
The story behind the teaser we showed at EVO. I'm gonna be reading the transcript, but I'll show you guys video as well. This is Harada talking. He says, Michael and I were supposed to be sitting at the broadcast desk, and also Rip and everyone else. We were going to say a little bit from the broadcast decks and say to everyone, please watch this video. Then the video was supposed to play. Him and Michael Murray were going to be sitting at the decks and they were going to talk like usual. And you were going to have Rip and Markman and probably Tasty Steve there too, like nodding their heads and you know whatnot. But here's where things go wrong. After that, I was going to give a little comment about it. But the thing is, if we went to the broadcast desk, we found out right before, but you know, those mics they were wearing, that's all they had for the people at the decks, and they couldn't find 2 more mics for us. Someone says, I see. And Harada says, and we were like, you're telling us now. It's Mandalay Bay, you know. They do boxing events and all, so there's no way that's the case. There were some wireless mics, but nobody knew if they would reach. Harada is walking up to the decks, getting prepared to do his segment, show us the teaser, and they tell him, we don't have microphones. All we have is these little tiny microphones, and that's it. And Harada starts freaking out because his segment is up and time is running out. And the reason he brought up Mandalay Bay and boxing is because he's saying, you guys don't have a microphone just laying around, nothing for us to communicate. We need one microphone, that's it. And they was like, no, we don't have one. Harada continues and says, there were some wireless mics, but nobody knew if they would reach. And top 8 was just starting, so we couldn't do any mic tests. They didn't want to try something so uncertain on the fly. This was going on between Bandai Namco and the EVO staff. So you have this situation here where they could use these mics, but they may not work. And if they don't work, you're going to have an even bigger disaster on your hands. So they're kind of trying to figure out something to do instead. They were both just going back and forth, what do we do? So I, which is Harada, ended up saying, I don't need it. I don't need to go up there, so just play the video. But then they went, no, not showing up is a problem too. Harada says, I don't know what happened, but after all this discussion, at the very last moment, when the video ended, they gave us direction telling us to just go in. They told us to just barge in. I don't even know why. Someone says, what were you guys doing? We have another page to read, but I want to stop here and just talk about it because it makes sense. It makes sense why all of the other developers were talking and none of them were talking. And also too, the reason why they simply couldn't just take the headset off Markman and Rip and give it to Michael Murray is probably because of like the pandemic, sanitization and stuff like that. You can't just take a headset off, because if you look at the video, only Rip has his headset on, active at the time.
What am I getting ready for?
Let's go! Let's go! Oh my God! It's Harada!
So he's the only one who's able to speak. But even at the same time, it would have been so weird if we heard the words, check out this Tekken 8 trailer from Rip. I think they could have said something like, Harada something, check out this video. And then at the end, they could have came in and sort of went crazy. But you can see here how short on time they were. They really had no clue what to do, and it kind of was just being forced. While we were watching the trailer about new tactics and 5.0 in Amsterdam, they were panicking. That's kind of what was going on behind the scenes. The final page says, honestly, we were the ones who were wondering the most. The people watching it live may not know, the crowd at the venue was cheering and happy. It was filled with excitement. People at the venue were probably okay with seeing that because the atmosphere in the venue made everyone more excited. It all came together to make it good for them, but the people watching EVO stream at home, they were probably like, wait, Harada isn't going to talk. And that is the difference between the two communities. People inside the stadium, right? You're inside the stadium. You can hear everyone else cheering and going crazy. So your adrenaline is pumping. But everyone watching on the stream, we're either watching Ares, Mayman Sui, Maximilian. We're watching the content creators. And if the content creators are confused, everyone is confused. And it really didn't clear itself up until probably a few days later, till everyone sort of came to the agreement that it was Tekken 8. But even then, it was still like dread. People was like, especially with the 5.0 being so lackluster, that didn't do anything to help the game, right? But at the end of the day, they dropped that bombshell of a Tekken 8 trailer on us and everyone loved it. I just think it's fascinating to get these behind the scenes looks, because reading this, it all makes sense. It makes sense why Harada didn't say anything, because he literally couldn't. They didn't have microphones and they didn't have time to check and to test the microphones that they did have. So that's pretty much it for this Harada's bar video. It's very short. It was like 10 minutes or something like that. But this segment here just gave us clarity on what happened, which I think is really cool because a lot of people was wondering. And seeing this, we understand that they didn't plan that. That was like a last minute thing. And for being last minute, I think it did a pretty good job because the confusion in a sense kind of helped the marketing. The confusion kind of made people talk more about it. It kind of helped in a sense. But also, maybe what they would have said could have been better, but who knows? I appreciate it. I also appreciate Harada doing these Harada's bars. And in this video, I just want to try to share with you guys to clear up some of the stuff that happened, right? So thank you for watching. Thank you, Harada. And that's going to be it. I'll see you guys next time, and bye-bye.